The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.
Welcome. More stuff on Obama's visit to Cuba. I found this Gizmodo article that said that ESPN's SportsCenter tried to publicly shame Obama today and his attendance at a Cuban baseball game by tweeting a photo. The caption said, "Meanwhile, next to the stadium in Havana," and it showed a slum. I'm not sure what the objective is here. Would you say that ESPN was trying to publicly shame Obama?
I don't know. I mean, it certainly seems that way. You know, it's interesting because usually it's the big sports channels and broadcasters who don't talk about the social problems surrounding sporting events. They are, with the exception of some special programs, when you have World Cups or Olympics or whatever, they don't talk about the fact that the locals are being pushed out and that a militarized police presence comes in and people are oppressed and there's no free speech and blah, 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 blah. Usually they don't talk about that, and all of a sudden ESPN wants to. It's very, very odd.
Mm-hmm. So maybe it was one person who decided that this would be funny to do. Maybe they're just trying to slam Cuba. Maybe they don't like relations between the U.S. and Cuba. Who knows? It didn't take long for people to take to Twitter and start responding to this to show the exact same thing all over the United States. One of the most popular replies here was at SportsCenter, meanwhile outside Citi Field Stadium. You can't tell the difference between that street and a slum.
Citi Field in Queens?
In Havana. Is it in Queens?
Well, are we talking Citi Field where the Mets play?
I think it is.
That's not a bad area, actually.
Well, yeah, but you're looking at the picture.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's, you know, depending on your sensibilities, but it's actually really expensive to live there.
Well, it doesn't mean that there aren't streets that are full of derelict buildings.
Yeah.
And then another one, meanwhile, next to the stadium in Detroit.
Right.
You can imagine what that looks like. And Willets Point literally does not have sidewalks or sewers. And this is looking pretty bad right here.
Yeah.
And so...
But then isn't the point that they should also be shaming him about that? Or like, I guess, what's the... It's all stupid to me. I mean, the president can't fix every bad area, every bad neighborhood in the United States or every place where things are run down. At the same time, we don't not have alliances, friendships, or diplomatic relations with any country that has slums, right? I mean, if we restricted our alliances only to countries that don't have slums, it would be very hard, very isolating, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, maybe this is a multi-level thing. You have people that are trying to shame Obama. You have people that are trying to make some sort of point about Cuba.
Right.
And then you have people that are trying to say something about the sports world. I think whatever the case here, we can draw parallels.
I think the best argument of all of those is the one that has the least to do with Obama, which is just the parallel between the sports world and this sort of indifference that often comes to the surface in the areas surrounding sports. And this can be sort of literal in the sense of the areas around the stadiums, or it can be more in terms of the drastic gap between the incomes of athletes and the incomes of the people working in and around the stadiums, right? I think that's the biggest story around sports in society. It's by no means unique to Cuba. In fact, I would guess it's actually less marked in Cuba because of how it's organized. And that's the story that has the least to do with President Obama here.
Yeah. Then we could talk about all of the fantastic baseball players that ended up playing in MLB who came from Cuba.
Right.
So that original tweet, we'd agree is unnecessary.
I would say so.
All right. I saw this great video it shows Tom Scott explaining the math behind YouTube's video IDs.
Right.
And maybe you already know about this.
Well, first explain what that even means. YouTube
Okay.
Video IDs.
Okay. Every video we put up has a unique ID. It's a series of numbers and letters and either an underscore or a hyphen. And that ID, every video that anyone posts, one of these is randomly generated. And the question has been asked because there are so many videos being put up all the time,
Something like 7 days of video uploaded every hour to YouTube.
something crazy.
Yeah.
Will YouTube ever run out of IDs? Well, the answer is probably not, because YouTube planned ahead. Now, the method they used here, or the system they used, is called base 64. Our counting system is base 10. You have 10 digits, 10 numbers, and that's everything. All of the numbers we use to write, it's those 10.
0 through 9.
0 through 9. And then computers are binary. It's just a 1 and a 0. And then you have hexadecimal, which is base 16, and that's very common. And that's you have 1 through 10, and then capital A through F or whatever, 6 letters. And what YouTube has used is base 64. We're talking 64 to the 64th power. This is a very, very large number. And
It's the number of Tinder dates you had last month, right? I mean, it's a huge, huge number.
actually, that was 0. Quite different. Big difference. And I'd have to watch the video again to know exactly what the number is called,
Yeah.
because it's that big
Right.
that it's not something we even use. How
It's
many
the size of
digits?
Trump's ego, actually, is what it represents.
Maybe even bigger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 digits we're talking. And the first one is a 7. So that's just 11 characters, actually. And so YouTube uses 64. I encourage everyone to watch this video. It is, I don't know if this video has gone viral, but it's a very popular video. Basically, just look up Tom Scott, YouTube video IDs. It goes into a lot of other things, explaining, kind of helping you visualize how many people would need to post, X number of people would need to post X videos to hit this mark.
Right.
And some other interesting internet-related tech and security stuff. And it is a great video. I found it to be fascinating. Dave, good news. In our lifetime, we will not run out of YouTube IDs for our
I was
videos.
getting concerned because we're planning on a bunch of new segments. And one of my big concerns was I hope that there's enough YouTube URLs available for these videos.
All right. There will be. In Oregon, or Oregon, it's Oregon, not Oregon, right?
I believe it's Oregon. But
Oregon.
I'm the guy who said Nevada for a long time until I was corrected, you know.
And Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Okay.
I honestly now am more and more convinced that it's wrong to say Hawaii, but I enjoy it. So I think that's how I'm going to say it.
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You can keep calling it, you can call it Howie. You can call it Howie.
I've been thinking of switching to Hawaii.
Sounds a little
Hebrew.
Hebrew-y.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or Middle Eastern in general. All right. In Oregon, there has been a study, and the study has found something disturbing about American adults.
They're not that smart in 80% of their jobs, as you like to say?
Not that.
Oh, okay.
I'm still waiting on that study. Only 2.7%. I wonder how you would even conduct that study.
Yeah. I mean, 80% of the people conducting the study might not be competent, according to your hypothesis.
I'd have to conduct the study.
Yeah, right.
I'd have to very carefully select my team. Only 2.7% of adults nationwide have met all 4 basic healthy characteristics that this study has sort of set in place here.
So what are the characteristics? I'm super curious.
Smoking. You smoke or you don't smoke. You have a healthy diet.
Defined how?
You have, I don't even know if that's defined here, but that's part of this.
Sort of.
They defined it.
Yes,
I
well,
just don't know if it's in this article. Of course, they defined it. Otherwise,
That's
you can't
good to know,
You
yeah.
can't do the research. Normal body fat percentage and sufficiently active.
Yeah.
So would you agree that those are pretty good when it comes to
Those are pretty
Yeah.
good. Pretty good metrics. Yeah.
alcohol? Doesn't seem to be part of this. I might have included that with the
Well, that could
smoking.
be under diet, right?
Well, I suppose.
No more than whatever a drink a day or whatever, 3 drinks a week, whatever now is the accepted healthy barometer.
Yeah. So what they found was out of their study group, only 2.7% had all four characteristics.
So roughly like 1 out of 35. If you come across 35 people, statistically speaking, 34 of those people are living what is defined as an unhealthy lifestyle by this study. One person is living a healthy lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. But their metric is that you are only living a healthy lifestyle, a truly healthy lifestyle, if you meet all four of these.
Right.
So, but we can continue. About 16% had all three. That's still not very high.
16%.
Yeah.
Okay. So 1 out of 6.
Had 3. 37% had 2. 34% had 1. 11% had none.
Right.
So 16%, I'd say you're still relatively healthy. But does this number surprise you? That only 2.7% met the criteria.
I mean, okay, so if you smoke, you're out of it in terms of living a healthy lifestyle. That makes sense, and that off the top eliminates a lot of people. Healthy diet, I'd want to know more about how it's defined. And the interesting thing is 2.7% of U.S. adults lead a healthy lifestyle, according to the study. I wonder what percent of U.S. adults believe that they lead a healthy lifestyle, according to just being asked about that and how that compares. I guarantee you it's more than 2.7%.
Well, I can probably, I can get into some of the details here, but it might not be exactly what you're looking for, but here's the summary. Researchers used an accelerometer device to gauge movement with a target of 150 minutes of moderate to vigorous activity each week. I'd say that's a pretty small amount.
Oh, okay.
That's a pretty small amount. Apparently, most people aren't even meeting that.
Well, if you talk about if you have moderate, if you work out 5 times a week, you're talking about 30 minutes 5 times a week. And I mean, I know.
But what if you work out for an hour?
If you work out for an hour, obviously that helps. I know a lot of people who go to the gym and consider themselves active who may not meet 150 minutes a week. All right. I mean, if you make it a point to go to the gym 30 minutes a day, 4 times a week, which for a lot of people who work full time requires some planning. I mean, I'd say I probably go 4 times a week, 4 to 5 times a week for 40 minutes. Probably, right? So I'm just barely getting in there, and I consider myself quite active, and I'm clearly not. I'm barely making the minimum requirement.
But they say moderate to vigorous activity. So there could be other daily activities that you're doing. For example, my walking to and from the studio at a very brisk pace every day.
Power walk.
2 miles. Would that be considered moderate? I bet it would.
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's their physical activity. Blood samples confirmed if a person was a non-smoker, and body fat was measured using X-ray technology. Here's the diet part. This was defined as being within the top 40% of people who consumed foods suggested by the USDA.
Okay.
How do you feel about that one?
It seems vague.
They have their guidelines. Guess they followed those guidelines.
Yeah.
Very
interesting study nonetheless. I mean, I think the takeaway is way fewer people are actually leading a healthy lifestyle than the number who probably think they are.
No doubt. No doubt about that. So I think that I am, although I would like to be more active. I haven't been as active lately because it has been winter and I can't run in the cold. Not because I can't handle the cold, but because my lungs actually cannot handle the constant inhaling of very cold air. It really messes with me.
Face mask?
In a very bad way. That restricts your breathing then, and it's
I think they have some special ones for running that are really good.
I don't know. I don't know if I want to bother with that. Okay, that's the study.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.